Greetings, pledges. There's a weird trend online right now. A chorus of women crying into the front camera telling the internet they're ugly, that they're overlooked, that they don't feel beautiful, that they're victims of some brutal societal standard. Let's be clear. They're not ugly. They're just fat. Not unlucky, not deformed, just swollen, inflamed, and puffy. Their faces aren't flawed. They're distorted. Their features aren't unfortunate. They're hidden. And they don't need saving. They need a caloric deficit. Let's begin. The standard of beauty is not oppression. It's a marker of effort. And weight loss is effort. Weight maintenance is effort. Resisting temptation is effort. You want to be loved and celebrated while skipping every sacrifice it takes to become someone worth staring at. You want beauty perks without the calorie mass. You're not being oppressed by the standard. You're just being reminded that you don't meet it. Not because you can't, but because you won't. You won't stop binging. You won't stop spiraling. You won't stop medicating your feelings with food. So no, you're not ugly. You're just stuck inside a face that hasn't seen discipline in years. And until you change what you consume, nothing else is gonna change. You keep saying you've been mistreated, that your friends always get picked first, that you're never the one men approach, that you've always felt like the ugly friend. Let's stop lying. They're not being cruel. They're not bullying you. They're not conspiring against you. You're just being reminded over and over again of what happens when you stop taking care of yourself. You're not entitled to be chosen just because you showed up. You're not owed romantic attention because you're a good person. You don't get points for being funny or kind or loyal if you've completely abandoned your physical self. Your friends aren't mean for getting attention. The man at the bar isn't evil for hitting on someone else. Strangers aren't bullies for seeing you last. They're just responding truthfully to the reality in front of them. And the reality is, you've let yourself go. Not spiritually, not emotionally, physically. And now you're angry that no one's pretending not to notice. You say people treat you differently, and yes, they do, because you are different. You move slower. You take up more space. You radiate the frequency of someone who's not in control. You're not being punished. You're being reflected. You keep talking about pretty privilege like it's some unfair advantage, like it's handed out at birth, like there's this cosmic lottery you've lost, and now you deserve sympathy, validation, and applause for being left out. But let's be honest. Pretty privilege isn't a mystery, it's math. It's built in the gym, maintained in the kitchen, and preserved through discipline, consistency, and conscious choice. You think pretty girls just get lucky, but they didn't luck their way into smaller faces and clearer skin. They earned it meal by meal, decision by decision. You want the privilege without the pain, the reward without the restraint, and when you don't get it, you claim injustice. You say the world is shallow. You post about how you've been rejected, overlooked, and oppressed by beauty standards. But let's be real, you're not oppressed. You're offended by the mirror. You're hurt by the difference between what you feel you deserve and what you've actually worked for. I can't stand hearing someone call themselves ugly. Ugly is the word that you reach for instead of undisciplined. It's what you started calling yourself when you didn't want to get a gym membership, when you didn't want to say no to cheesecake, when you didn't want to feel the sting of accountability. So instead, you want us to believe that you were born cursed, that your body was built wrong, that God made a mistake. You blamed your creator instead of your consumption, because if it's ugly, it's permanent. If it's ugly, it's fate. If it's ugly, you're off the hook. You didn't want to confront your cravings. You didn't want to log your meals. You didn't want to eat salad while your friends got fries. So you adopted the identity of someone unfortunate because it's easier to be pitied than disciplined. You're not ugly. You're just full of stories you've used to justify not showing up for yourself. And now ugly is the label you use to protect your ego from your reflection. If you called it what it actually was, I'm carrying weight I refuse to address. I've given up on my physical body. I'm not willing to feel discomfort for a better outcome. Then you'd have to do something, and you don't want to. So instead, you built a false identity around a lie that you were never beautiful to begin with. But you were, and maybe you still are. You've just buried it beneath every excuse and processed packaged food. You called a press conference to announce that you're ugly. You hit record. You started crying. You told the internet that you're unattractive, unwanted, and unchosen. And the comment section split in two. One half said, "No, you're beautiful. Don't say that. Don't say that about yourself." The other half said, "Try losing some weight. Track what you eat. Stop blaming beauty standards for your lack of effort." And you ignored both. Because the truth is, you don't want feedback. You don't want a conversation. You don't want help. You want applause for collapsing. You want to be ugly on purpose and still get celebrated like you chose it for art. This is not about beauty. This is about delusion and how you respond when it's confronted. When someone tells you you're beautiful, you dismiss them. When someone tells you your food choices are showing up in your face, you call it hate. When the scale gives you feedback, you avoid it. When your jeans don't fit, you blame the brand. When your reflection makes you flinch, you avoid the mirror, not the fridge. You don't want the truth. You want proof that no matter what you do, you're still worthy of being placed on a pedestal. There are very few ugly women. There are a lot of undisciplined ones, though. You say this is just what I look like, but nobody just looks like that. This is a reflection of repetition. This is years of mismanagement, of medicating your feelings with food, of losing the ability to sit with any discomfort so you eat through it. And now your body shows it. You know it never had to get this far. You're not being punished, you're not being oppressed, you're being mirrored. And you're being handed the exact energy you pour into yourself. And what you hate most isn't that the standard is high, it's that it's visible. You think you should be able to opt out of effort and still be seen as elite, but no one thinks the dropout deserves a diploma. Nobody thinks the girl who quit the race deserves a medal. And no one thinks the woman who eats like she's grieving deserves to be called beautiful. I haven't seen one woman crying about being ugly online who is actually ugly. What they are is exposed. Exposed for every skipped decision, every second portion, and every moment they chose to sedate themselves instead of stop themselves. And now they want sympathy for a face that's simply reporting the truth. You say you wish you were beautiful, but when presented with every single tool that would change your life, structure, boundaries, discipline, regulation, you treat them like violence. You think you should be worshipped even as you deteriorate, and you think beauty should show up for you while you refuse to show up for yourself. You want to compete with women who starve their impulses while you feed every single one of yours and call it authenticity. There is no such thing as natural beauty. They're just women who aren't eating themselves into oblivion. Women who know how to regulate instead of spiral. Women who don't treat every inconvenience like a reason to self-destruct. You say you want to be chosen, but you haven't chosen yourself. You haven't gone to your workout. You haven't respected calorie math. You want the same reality as the girls who do without doing it. Ugly isn't permanent. It's not genetics. It's a lifestyle. And you chose it. And you can choose something else at any time. If you're done performing pain, we're on Patreon. But if you want to stay here and binge for likes, don't let us stop you. Meeting adjourned.